But instead, let's get a different combination going, because I don't want to talk the whole time. I want other people to have their moment. How about Shaun and Doug have a moment?
That's fine with me, because if it's you and Doug again, I was getting ready to like write my congressman or something. But me and Doug, I like the sound of that.
That sounds great, because it's me and also Doug. Hey, look at this.
Now, this is a game I played when I was a kid. And this like very much captures the entire experience for me. This is another example of the first level song, right?
Yep.
So yeah, again, I mean, what we talked about, the importance of starting strong, and they seem to nail it every time. And this song is just iconic to me in that first level, which I think is also iconic. So they did the whole package together, and I think it was brilliant.
Can we talk for a moment about how I don't know how in the world you would ever think to crouch and go behind the stage, but this music is playing the first time you encountered that ability, and it's like, now as I think back on that, I'm like, man, developers were way ahead of the curve, weren't they?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, to get the power.
That was the whole point, though, right? They're like, have secrets that you cannot possibly discover on your own to encourage that community feel.
Yeah.
And get that conversation going, and yeah, man.
Because it's really true of 2 of the 3 whistles. The third one isn't too bad to find, but you also have to fly above a stage to get the other one, of course, in the castle, and it's like, man. As far as the song goes, yeah, I mean, again, perfectly capturing this moment of like, all right, you're setting off, you're exploring, you're jumping on stuff, you're figuring things out. This was my next to last cut. It was very close to making my list as well, just because I think it's also important. It doesn't have the importance of a first stage that we'll get to in a bit, but still, it's like, you know, this is one of the best games ever made and one of the best opening level themes ever made.
One, they come out showing you how much more range that like the sounds and the instruments they have to work with. There's like a lot going on in this song, so yeah, it was a nice piece for them to kind of show off.
It's interesting because this is a sound font you don't really hear that often, and it was used throughout this soundtrack. Just the end of level theme is also the exact same instruments here as the main melody, but like, it worked. It's kind of odd, but like you said, it shows the evolution even on the same system from what they were doing for Mario 1, even though that was really over the span of like 4 years tops. So they were really getting the most they could out of this until they got the extra on SNES, and of course now we're miles beyond that, but it still holds up. It's catchy as hell.
Was this the first game that they had where they called it Athletic?
I think it's the earliest one that I can think of. The soundtracks are all over the place.
Yeah.
Even as we were trying to get set up, I was telling Michaela, like, the version of the Galaxy soundtrack I have is so different title-wise. But I believe so, yeah. And I'm sure retroactively they could go back and call the first level the first Mario Athletic, but they didn't.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's my thought that actually, like, if you look at all the other athletics that we're about to come across, it's not this theme, but the alternate theme that would be more fitting to the athletic title. I found it surprising. Yes, Craig's got the right one. So
yeah, it's interesting what they.
It is obviously.
I was gonna say it's interesting what they decided to end up naming Athletic, because the convention goes all over the place. There's another one higher up on the list that I think you can make a case for, and I've accidentally stumbled into having to, so we'll get to that when the time comes.
Nice.
What does that mean? Right. Don't worry about it. It'll be in the top 5.
Oh boy.
14. Let's see. I'd like to see who this is going in, just to know. Oh, this is our first with everyone.
Hey.
With an asterisk.
Hey. Oh.
Kind of. I don't think it's really an asterisk, but technically this is slightly different from one person to another.
God.
But the main person who put the asterisk was Shaun.
God damn it.
And because I agreed with him, I chose this version.
Oh, cool. Okay.
So I also think the Metallic Mario version is my favorite version of Starman. There's like 20 of them. They show up in pretty much all the games with some slight variations, but they're all pretty similar. Hell, it's in Dr. Mario. That's one of my favorite versions, because you clear out a chain of 4 in Dr. Mario, you get the Starman music, and I'm like, fucking yes!
Yeah.
Yes! Give me that! So, I love the Metallic version, but you can take your favorite. I mean, Wing Cap is another version.
Yeah.
They're all different versions.
I made the caveat because the full Star song, like, does play. But then you get this, like, bump, bump, bump.
Right.
So forceful. And not only does it reflect when you're a Metallic Mario really well, it was fucking fun to listen to. So that's why I went with it. Plus, I was thinking all of us would have some version of Starman probably, and we did. It turns out that was correct.
I think it had to be here.
Yeah.
And is there a ton to this musically? No. And like you said, this version with a few others added something to it. This is this really heavy 90s synth. Again, so emblematic of the time. But it also makes sense because you're like clomping around in your metal form. So like, it's good. It's catchy. I really like that. And you don't get to hear it much in the game. You basically have the time you get the cap and I guess a Hazy Maze cave spot or two. And that's almost it. There's one in the water. Like, there's really not many times you get to hear this. But it's my favorite for sure.
So this is kind of like a Chris and Shaun joint. Sort of.
This specific version, yeah, but all four of us had Starman in some capacity.
Yeah.
Nice.
This was like the most Starman type power up in 64, though, right? So you just run and you kick the people or whatever.
Right, because you also have an invisible cap, but you don't like. That's fine, and it's an okay power, but you don't feel cool and powerful. The whole point of Starman is to run through everything and kill a bunch of stuff and. Like, it's been used in the mainstream. There's that famous, oh God, who the hell is the Seahawks running back? Marshawn Lynch had a touchdown run where he went through like 8 defenders and some bounced off of him and he broke a tackle. He stiff arms a guy, and it's with the Starman theme. You're like, yeah, that's perfect. That's what it is. You just kill everything.
Well, and considering the wing cap, you fly like someone poked a hole in your kite. Like, this is like the song. So
yeah, it was weird. So that is the first. That had unanimous support. There are 5 others, but we're not going to get to any of them for a bit. Because unsurprisingly, when all 4 of us voted for something, it usually ratcheted up the list. This one, I had the highest, but it was kind of an afterthought for most people. It was Michaela's 25, for example. So it just made it. But it wasn't all 4 of ours. And since Michaela didn't put Starman high, she's banned from having a vote on the next one.
nice.
That's not true.
I second that.
It's just the way it happened to work out. But all 3 of us, except for her, had our number 13, and I mean, if you've been following along, you kind of know where we're going to be heading with some of these. So, like, of course, we also need to have this. Is this an athletic? No, but maybe. But no, this one's just overworld, but it's kind of athletic. It doesn't matter. It's fun. It's jaunty. It's a good time.
I love this song. Like, I like, for example, Mario 3, I like for that game, and what we talked about already. This is just like a song that I think is like really good.
Yeah.
I really love it. There's a chance I like Mario 2 more than anyone here. There's a chance. I don't know about Doug. Maybe we'll have to fight about it.
Is that the
Well,
one?
I mean, that just sounds like we're a couple of Mario and Zelda 2 apologists here.
That's true. Maybe that's it. Yeah. But man, it's so good. Yeah, this is the one with all the radishes and Birdo and flying carpets and a bunch of weird shit. It doesn't play like Mario at all. But this song is great.
Okay. I'm trying to remember if maybe I played it.
I don't even know how do they even do that. It's impossible. It's great.
I think I played this one a little bit growing up. I'm trying to remember. Can you play as the different characters
Yeah.
like Peach?
Yeah.
Okay, I definitely played this one then because I do remember this song.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Toad's superpower was picking things up quickly.
Yeah.
Which was actually kind of useful, but it doesn't sound great on the surface.
But then like the tone
Didn't he
changes
also
a
have
little
the
bit.
highest charge
The
jump
charge
too?
Yeah.
squat jump,
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, this is great, and you know, this is sort of ragtimey in nature. That's not even the only ragtimey song we have in the top 25, but like, it makes sense. They're like, what do we lean on? What's a genre that just speaks like vibes? And I mean, they nailed it. Was it originally going to be composed for this, or was it meant for the other game? I don't know if we know.
I was
But
about to ask that question. Is like, did they just pull this from whatever? I forgot the name of this game, or was it Doki
Right.
Doki? Yes,
because there is a Starman theme in this game, so there is other stuff from the Mario series here.
Yeah.
So I feel like the soundtrack was made after the decision to turn this into a Mario game, but I have no idea. I've never looked that up myself.
Whoever did it, they nailed it.
Good job, you person. Probably Koji Kondo, but I don't know for sure on Mario 2.
Probably dead.
Oh wow.
Yikes.
Jesus.
And with that note, we move to number 12. All right, it's the last Chris and Doug vehicle, I promise. But this is the one where I think you fucked up. I think this needs to be
this
on
is
it.
the one.
This is
This
what
is
I
it.
think needs to be on everyone's list.
Okay.
In fact, I'm a little bit disappointed it's not in the top 10. I don't think it should have been top 5. I think there's some big stuff up there, and we almost all voted for it, so I don't have a ton of qualms with it. But this one I think is a mistake.
Did I not have this? Oh, man,
Oh.
I thought I remember listening to this and being like, "Yep, I've got it somewhere on my list." Crap.
Speaking of ragtime,
I do love me some ragtime.
I feel like I had some version of this somewhere in the. Some of this, honestly, I did it all in one night. It bleeds together a little bit, but I thought I had
does.
this.
boy, does it.
Now, is it only in this game?
Pretty much.
Mhm.
I think there's a
Okay.
slightly different version of it in Yoshi's Story, but that
Mm.
wasn't one of the main games anyways. Like this, I think should be around the 6 or 7 range. So 12's not like, oh my god, it's so bad. But it's really only up here because it's my number 3. That's also on Doug's list, but
So this must be different than the overworld of Super Mario World 2 then.
yes.
Okay, then, I'm trying to defend myself. Maybe I just have to take the L, because it is good.
I think if, because I know you had that on your list, but I feel like it was pretty low, yeah?
Which one?
The one that you had as Overworld from this game.
Yes.
Like, it was low. So I don't think it would have had a huge impact.
Yeah.
Thought I had an Overworld song at one point.
I don't know if you had any Yoshi's Island on your list.
I had 2 from Yoshi's Island.
Right. I had 5. It's the game I had the most from.
Yeah.
I think the soundtrack is criminally underrated. But then again, this game also kind of got forgotten a little bit. I
Yeah,
mean, I
it
guess
did.
for some people it was the annoying-ass Baby Mario. I understand. It's very different from a lot of these other games on our list. But, man, I don't know. I love this game, and this is, well, I mean, it's my number 3, so of course it's a top 3 track for me.
It's
so
always awesome to watch somebody perform it.
Dave would be sad about this. This would be really high up on Dave's list.
Oh yeah.
He and Molly used to like make up lyrics for this song, so I'm just gonna put that anecdote in there so he feels represented, even though he's not here and he's dead.
God, I would kill to know
But-
what Dave created for lyrics for this
So,
song.
like, to Nick's point, there are multiple versions on YouTube that have gone viral of people who have no idea about video game music picking up this song and being like, oh, that's fun, I want to play that. And they'll play it, like, by ear in, like, a jam session. So you've got, there's one set where there's a person playing it from piano by ear, and then somebody with a flute comes over and a tuba comes over. There's one where somebody brings, like, a bottle over, the jug, and they're going, voo, 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 voo. Like, okay. So, like, it has musical appeal outside of the games in a way that a lot of other Mario tracks wouldn't. Like, everybody knows, 1-1 from Mario, the first one. But, like, this actually is just a really nice tune that people go, damn, I want to play with that. That's fun. So,
It's very, very fun tune.
yeah. And we've used the word fun a lot, but, like, that's the whole point of Mario, right? Like, we don't come to it for the deep lore, but we
Right.
come to it to have a fun time playing the game and, bright, sunshiny days. And, by God, if this doesn't capture that, I don't know what does.
Yeah.
Number 11 is a
Another
Shaun and
Kristen
Michaela vehicle,
Hell yeah.
Oh my
All the way to
God.
11 for our first joint.
and there's 2 of them, so there's one more to come.
Oh my god.
So I will let the 2 of you talk about our number 11, and it is...
This one's cool. I like this track. I think it's pretty or water heavy if I remember this particular galaxy correctly, and it was just fun. A lot of the galaxy worlds are really creative, and the way that you have to use the gravity and navigating through the planet and the different worlds they create. And this song was just epic. I just remember it being a banger.
Well, here's what's interesting about this one. So this could be a final boss thing. Like, it's very epic. It's very cool. Whereas some of the songs that we've talked about a lot of times, like, oh, we kind of voting because of the memory of that level.
Yeah.
I don't remember this level whatsoever. I only know that this song fucking rocks, and that I would listen to it on its own, and I was like, that to me is worth a huge vote.
Yeah.
For Mario, and it goes through like layers. Some of these songs, they're really good, but it's like kind of the same riff played over and over again.
Yeah.
This goes all sorts of places. It gets soft, it gets hard. It's amazing.
Yeah. This was another one that was on my middle school playlist
Yeah.
for homework and such. So
This was my last
Shakes his head.
cut. It was the very last one I took off. I couldn't find room for it. I really liked this track. To me, this is the music in the game that most says, like, space.
Yeah.
And it's got that element of water, too, as well. So it fits both, but, like, this sounds like Mario Galaxy.
When you take this this thing they're doing now, because they did it before, and then you go through it multiple times and you continue to build on it, musically, anytime that happens, I love it.
I love me a good crescendo.
Yes, so
Anytime.
good.
It's so good.
Because I'm like, I could see this in my head. I picture like Star Trek when I hear this. Weirdly enough, doesn't really fit. But then you think about it, you're like, well, kind of though. Because there's another song from this list coming up yet that we haven't gotten to yet. That's probably the most emblematic from this game. Doesn't sound like space at all.
Well, this is another great example of like you had the orchestra, but you still made a hook that's really appealing.
Like this
and
part
then this
right
weird
here.
thing.
Yeah, this sounds like space.
Yeah, so you do so much with the song, and it's very memorable.
Yep.
And it doesn't just get kind of lost in the sometimes malaise of it's an orchestra, so we can play whatever. It's like the song had a purpose. It's very well composed. It has a great hook. I think it's incredible. I think it was very high on my list.
It was high on both of your lists. It was number 4 for you and number 5 for her, I think.
I mean, goddamn.
Yep.
Good job. So we talk about Collusion. That's 2 in the top 5, actually.
But this is why it took off at number 11, because those are 2 high votes. There's a big gap between 11 and 12. The rest was all pretty staggered normally, and then it leaps to this point, and everything from here has either a couple of votes with a big vote or all 4 of us voting for it. So if a number 4 and a number 5 made it to 11, you get a sense of what might be still to come.
Yeah.